Now, 4.0. This is a concept where team synthesis lay much emphasis on.
This is a process.
Dave Smith, you come from Silicon Valley. This is the heart where all technological developments are being made every day. And we see now technology is taking a very important place in our daily lives, being in any field. Is there a risk that machines will take over humans? Is there a myth about that, or is there a truth about that?
I think the right way to think about this is there is a wave of in fact, there are multiple waves of technology that are merging and converging and evolving all simultaneously. So biological systems, data analytics, mobile networks, all of these things are evolving at a pace that's difficult for most people to assimilate as quickly as the innovations occur. I guess the thing that to keep in mind is that at the end of the day, humans will still be the center of all these innovations. Even when we talk about big data, the whole point of big data in dealing with data sets that are too large to be handled with traditional database technology, it's really focused on human behavior. Human behavior involves complexity that happens to generate a lot of data. So I think the thing people really need to keep in mind is that we're still going to be relevant, we're still going to be at the center of the motivation and the purpose for all of this innovation. So
now we are talking about the new generation, which is using these new technologies, and we wanted to not their lives turn around that. How do you get this human touch while educating them? How do you introduce this way of behaving, and what changes do you see coming next?
Oh, well, many of them are preparing themselves in the technologies and the devices that they adopt and that they seem to acquiesce to using quite readily. But I think it's important, regardless of what field young people decide they want to go into, whether it's medicine or law, they're going to be impacted, they're going to be affected by technology. So I think it's important that at an early age, an early journey, in the early part of the educational journey, that students are exposed to information technology, computer science, engineering, and get a sense of what it's all about. So it's not so mysterious. And not being so mysterious takes, I think, some of the fear and mystery out of it, and helps them adapt to the emerging marketplace. Because the emerging marketplace is going to reward people who not only have the core skills for whatever specialization that they're pursuing, but are also able to incorporate these technologies into the workflow. That's going to be very important.
Now, with new technologies, all barriers are practically broken. We don't have a barrier of time, we don't have this barrier of distance. We can do business from any place in the world,
Yes.
which means also there's exchange of data which goes around the world, which
Yes.
is being exchanged. And what about security for data protection?
The never-ending task. You know, security is like a cat and mouse game. For every measure, there's a countermeasure, and for every countermeasure, there's a countermeasure. Ultimately, it's going to come down to people understanding and being aware of the implications of using this technology. There's no such thing as privacy as we once understood it. If you're using any kind of technology that's connected to the internet or connected to electronic devices, people have to be aware of that and adjust their behavior accordingly. And I think the biggest challenge is for young people to understand that, because they were born into a time where they were handed this technology without any real counseling or guidance on the implications of not respecting the privacy shortfalls, I should say.
Do you fear or do you think someday people might lose this human touch, humanity? I mean, now, today we're communicating through mobiles, Facebook, or
Yes.
WhatsApp, or all those devices. I mean, we lack this human touch. What can be done? Can be done about that? While teaching, you're teaching about computers and all that. Can we introduce some kind of human touch, and also in this pedagogical way of doing things?
That's a very good question, and boy, I wish I had a ready answer for that. It's actually a bit scary when you just walk around and you observe people interacting with these devices as opposed to talking to the person sitting right next to them. I've even seen families in restaurants where the mom, the dad, the children are all engaged in their devices rather than engaging with each other. I think it'll take a little bit of time, but I think as these things go, the cycles come full circle and people will reach a certain inflection point and turn the devices off and get back to talking to each other. But it's going to take a little time because they've got to get past the fascination of these devices and what they can do, and realize that there's no substitute for actual human interaction.
Business Connect, that's it for this edition. Find this program on our website and also follow us on our Facebook page. We'll see you next time for another edition of Business Connect. Till then, it's goodbye.